Welcome to Breaking Banks Africa. I'm Matteo Rizzi, and together with my co-host Nadine Doro, let us take you on a journey of entrepreneurship, innovation, and vibrant ecosystems Africa has to showcase. More than 1 in 4 people will be African by 2050, this continent being already the youngest of the planet. You can't miss these stories. This is Breaking Banks Africa. Let's roll. Hey guys, welcome back to the Provoke Family podcast. I'm Matteo Rizzi, the executive producer of this show, and this is episode 0 of Breaking Banks Africa. It's a brand new podcast adding up to Breaking Banks and Breaking Banks Europe that we are also running on the same platform. And I'm here with my good friend Nadine Zero, that is going to be my co-host for Breaking Banks Africa. Nadine, welcome.
Thank you, Matteo. Hello, everyone. I am Nadine Zoro. I am a project manager, and I've been working in digital financial services for some time, supporting startups also when it comes to innovation, and today more supporting digital inclusion of women in Côte d'Ivoire with a program. So I touch a bit of everything, but for me, it's all about inclusion. It's all about everybody finding a way to fit in and benefit from the system. So I'm really pleased and grateful for Matteo. I mean, we've been friends for some time, supporting startups, and it's a pleasure to collaborate on this podcast. I look forward to talking to all of you, sharing a lot of excitement, a lot of good energy, and learning a lot, because I'm sure from this ecosystem, whether in Africa, Francophone, or in English-speaking countries, we have a lot to share, and we have our ways of doing things that we think surely the world can learn from also. So it's a pleasure being here with you today.
So guys, I suppose that it's pretty clear why I picked Nadine for this job, because she is like a ball of energy. She is, constantly on the move. She has, a range of different businesses, but most importantly, you and I met Nadine a while ago when we were coaching a bunch of entrepreneurs in Ivory Coast, right? Because you
Yes.
also set up an investment club in Ivory Coast, right?
Yes. So I'm part of the Côte d'Ivoire Business Angel Network. I'm one of the co-founders. And this came from also our ideas of providing continuous support. Because when you start supporting entrepreneurs and you see that the little innovation of a little change or the one step that will make them go to the market is $1,000. And you can't let your impact stop at $1,000. So for us, it was more of making sure that we provide a continuous support for them and laying the ground, because as we know, we don't have that many seed capital for people here in our areas. So we need to find ways to support them, but also to put in contribution the private sector, because there are private sectors individuals that are interested and have the cash to support young people that want to do something meaningful. So for us, with my co-founders at Impact Hub Abidjan and other ecosystem stakeholders in Côte d'Ivoire, we decided to put that together. And we've already made one investment last year. And we are working with some startup currency to finalize additional deals. Yeah.
That's great. So, if I put myself in the shoes of the listeners in the continent, I see, okay, oh, guys, are you actually going to do only shows in English? Because there are at least, taking the African native languages like Swahili, aside, there are at least 2 more main languages like French and Portuguese. Mais en fait, tu es aussi francophone, comme moi, un petit peu. Et donc, je pense qu'on donnera aussi de l'espace à l'Afrique francophone et aussi à l'Afrique lusophone. Qu'est-ce que tu en penses?
Bien sûr, évidemment. Et ça, c'est une problématique principale. Je pense que le monde de l'innovation tourne beaucoup aussi autour de la langue anglaise, et c'est compris. C'est ce qui existe. Mais derrière, il y a tout un écosystème francophone. Et pour pouvoir stimuler cette innovation aussi, on doit être très inclusif. Le plus les gens sont à l'aise avec la langue qui est parlée, le plus ils se retrouvent dans leur environnement naturel, le plus on peut se retrouver avec un changement attendu et de l'impact dans ce que nous sommes en train de faire. Donc, pour moi, avoir des sessions en français, je suis francophone je suis native francophone, donc je suis ivoirienne. Et avoir ces sessions-là en français, ces conversations, ça permet aussi aux personnes qui ont de l'expérience, qui sont du milieu francophone, qui n'ont pas forcément eu la chance ou l'opportunité de se frotter au milieu anglophone, de partager leur expérience, parce qu'elle a une valeur. Et pour nous, cette valeur-là se trouve dans la multiplicité de langues et dans la diversité. Et avoir plusieurs langues, c'est vraiment cette promotion-là que nous essayons de faire aussi. Voilà.
Absolutely. And don't worry, guys, whenever we are not talking English, we will make sure that there are subtitles, in the different conversations. So at least there is one fil rouge, of the conversation that you can all follow. So Nadine, let's talk a little bit about, what are we going to talk about, in the different podcast episodes. So let's pick one topic each, and I will start and let's see where it goes. So one of the things that we need to talk about for sure, and I pick an easy one, is talent.
Yes.
For different reasons, because as you know, and this is part of the catch up that we haven't done yet, but I take the opportunity of this conversation to do it together with you and our million of listeners around the globe. We are launching timepledge.org, which as a platform to coach African entrepreneurs on soft skills. That's how we met, if you remember. Well, now there is the evolution of Time Pledge, which is a platform to upskill coders. The top coders of the different universities. We will start with the data scientists and full stack developers, and we will make sure that these students have better opportunity, a complement of curriculum that will make them peers, to the coders from outside the continent, so that they can be hired with better salaries and cooler jobs from foreign companies to work in Africa. The secret sauce is that we're going to link these entrepreneurs with opportunities. So we're going to link them to every startup that is today raising money and also looking to hire new talents. So I think that giving visibility to talent development and the different talent opportunities around the continent is one of the topics we're going to talk about. Over to you. What else do you think we should talk about?
Initially, I wanted to add to this because since we talk, I've also moved into talent development, but for women talents in tech.
Amazing.
So I'm the program director of a DigiFarm program in Côte d'Ivoire. And we also have a DigiFarm Academy where we train women to become full stack developers. And we also link them to startup and SMEs that we have been upskilling when it comes to digital transformation. So
Looks like the stars are aligned on this. It's amazing.
same alignments. I think we are all seeing where the development and innovation is going towards. And for me, if one topic is key is innovation, but when we're talking about innovation, we need to look at it as an ecosystem matter. We're going to create startups. We're going to support startups to be able to pledge, to pitch and get better funding and everything. But who is going to work for those startups? If we don't have the right talent locally, we are creating the same issues. Right? We're going to have businesses that are not fit with market needs and that are not fit with the markets, the human resources that are available. So for me, I think on the side of talent, the other thing that is really key when it comes to innovation is market fitness when it comes to the product, but also when it comes to everything. HR, are we sure that what we're thinking about when it comes to innovation is linked or attached to the reality of the market? And for me, that's a very key, important thing, because as we're moving toward globalization, it's very important that each country or each individual entity finds its own identity and can define what development means for themselves based on the culture and also based on the track that the politician or the agenda that is in the country. So all of this market fitness and market understanding is very important also when it comes to innovation. That's one to record.
I agree with you. Another way of saying this would be, together with the pure talent, we have also the whole entrepreneurship culture, how to build the companies in the safest and the soundest possible way. Another topic I want to talk about is what I call frontiers market.
Mhm.
So I want to give visibility to all these ecosystems that are, I want to say, under the radar or with the huge, with the biggest leap, in
Mhm.
terms of opportunity of innovation. And I'm
Mhm.
talking especially about, Francophone Africa as well as Lusophone Africa. So you are in one of the cradle of innovation of Francophone Africa. Ivory Coast is particularly advanced in
Yeah.
terms of investment, visibility, entrepreneurship, maturity of even the regulator. But there are many other countries in Francophone Africa as well as in Lusophone Africa, and also I'm thinking tier two and tier three countries, for lack of a better definition. But I'm
Mhm.
thinking of Mali, Botswana, Sierra Leone, these
Yeah.
countries where we still have millions of people that
Mhm.
technology can give a better life to, right?
Yeah.
And this is what we have a format in Breaking Banks Europe podcast which is called Ecosystem Zoom In, and is a format when we invite a specialist or representatives from a given country.
Mhm.
Usually it's an investor, an entrepreneur, and maybe a banker or someone from the regulator, and it's a combination of them, and they can actually shed some lights on that
Mhm.
particular ecosystem. So this is for sure one of the formats that I would like Breaking Banks Africa to have, because
Mhm.
it will give visibility to countries and ecosystems that are usually under the radar.
I think this is spot on. I mean, we talk about Francophone being a bit behind, but I think there are so many tiers when we talk about Francophone countries, right? Cote d'Ivoire and Senegal at a certain level when it comes to innovation. When we look at other less mature ecosystem, Burkina Faso and Mali and the rest are far behind. So we really need to give light and make sure that we understand those different issues and how those different countries, even the politics, the stability in those countries are affecting the world around finance and banks and everything around money for the population. I also think one other aspect is inclusiveness. For me, when I think the question we need to talk about is gender inclusiveness, right? What is the place of women? Especially in communities where women are given, in most communities, even women have a predominant role, right? They are mothers, they are raising the next generation from the ground. So how do we give them the right tools? How do we make sure they understand their position? How do we understand how they understand money? What is their relationship with money and how they feel it should be done? So I think the question on gender inclusiveness is very important in this conversation because for us, for example, in Cote d'Ivoire, women make up to half the population. So we can't move forward without half of a group. Everybody needs to get the right tool. Everybody needs to understand, and everybody needs to have a voice when it comes to what the future is going to look like. So gender inclusiveness should be very important in our conversation, and how we can do better to make sure that the world is safe, inclusive, and useful for everybody.
I agree, Nadine. You have my full support in for this topic as well. And maybe I will add another one, which is maybe a bit more institutional, but is also super important. And is I want to give voice to the regulators of the different
Yeah.
countries,
Yeah.
because there are actually a few, and then helped a few, like Mozambique, for example. I helped a few countries to come up with their fintech regulation. That to be able to be more open, be more inclusive in terms of technology. Be more open in terms of how to give credit. Which elements to take into the account when you build a credit score and so on. This being said, there are, out of the 54 countries in Africa, I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of regulators that have not been exposed yet to all
Yeah.
this fintech innovation. And I
Mhm.
think that we need to contaminate in a good way, regulators that have gone, through a certain, a path of evolution, and maybe regulators that are still a little bit behind not because of, simply by structural, ways, in which, the country couldn't make it a priority, just, and I think that someone like us is actually better placed to be able to give cross visibility, to the regulators' work in a different country. So that would be another topic, in my opinion, we should talk about.
Yeah, and even to this, I think we talk about regulator. I think we're also looking at banking sector regulators and all of these. But even talking about the regulation itself, right? I think people need to understand the regulation first. Some people are working in the banking sector and the finance sector and don't have a clear visibility of what the regulation is. And for me, I always say a basic person in the street should understand what the banking regulation is. They need to understand some basics about what are their rights, what are the laws about identity, privacy issues, things like that. And I think we need to be able to create that bridge between even government officials, because we have a lot of national strategy on digital inclusion or national strategies on innovation, and there's no link. Sometimes the government officials don't even understand where the world is going with all of these development and all of this. So for me, having this place where they can come and also share their questions, right? Sometimes they want to understand. What are you talking about? Sometimes we get questions basic like, what is a startup? Do we even have startups here? We don't have startups. And let's talk about it openly and let's discuss that. Let's hear from them and clarify all of those issues. Once we speak the same language and we understand what we're talking about, I think we're closer to finding solutions that are going to meet the market's needs.
I agree. And maybe I will just add a last topic. There will be many more, but if we manage to talk about what we just said, I mean, it will be already amazing this year. Of course, we will give space to investors, right? Because every ecosystem always say, we need capital. There is a lack of investors here, and I think that initiative like yours, where basically a bunch of entrepreneurs put together a little bit of capital, but also a lot of non-monetary support for entrepreneurs is probably the key, on how to help other ecosystem, less advanced ecosystem, to have an investment strategies for their entrepreneurs. So we will give visibility and share ideas on how we can provide some of the even very entry capital to entrepreneurs, across the continent. And I know you agree with this topic, right?
Yes, totally, totally agree, totally agree. And I think money is a good support and is needed. But maybe my last one for me is the support. The support I'm talking about is, I think you mentioned initially, but coaching and mentoring. Creating a culture of coaching and mentoring when it comes to supporting entrepreneurs. I think that's something that is lacking in our ecosystem. We don't have enough of it. You have one or two incubators that have programs, but what are the right ways to coach or mentor entrepreneurs so they can grow? Even the culture of mentoring, right, is not really something that we do here naturally. And how do we work to institutionalize it? Because if you want the next generation to grow and really, we need to support them and open the way. I mean, not them. We need to support ourselves because I'm also part of the next generation. Still, I'm young. But I would say the idea is, how do we create networks and communities that are supportive and welcoming of entrepreneurs, where they can go and get support from experts, volunteers that are willing to input something into the growth of the business as part of the contribution to the growth of the ecosystem. And there is a demand, I know a lot of professionals, banking professionals, everybody that are like, what can we do? So let's bring the ecosystem together, see how they structure things, how they can discuss on different skills they can bring, competencies that the startup ecosystem needs, and that we can also give light to in those conversations. And even stories, right? Matches that happen well, things that some mentors, right? I mean, you've come to Cote d'Ivoire multiple times and you've mentored people, and they're done one day presentation or support, and it changed, right? They're learning. Some will come out of it and say, oh, wow, I didn't know I could pitch like that. I didn't know I could learn to do this and that. So let's bring out good collaboration also between mentors and startups that have given fruits, and those also can encourage, I think, more of this support from the ecosystem.
Absolutely. Nadine, I am really excited for this adventure that we are starting together. So today it looked more like a conversation between you and me, but the next time we both need to wear the hat of the guys asking questions, and
Yes.
we will um, reveal soon, who are going to be our first guests. The next episode is coming up in a couple of weeks. This is episode 0, and well, I would like to end this conversation by actually saying thank you, because you jumped on the ship immediately, when and I know you have been a guest in other podcasts, but you never hosted one.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for accept this challenge, and also what I think is going to be a beautiful adventure.
Yes, thank you so much. I think for the opportunity, it came right at the right time when I was thinking of challenging myself with something different. It will be a great learning opportunity for me. I think, like you mentioned, I'm always generally on the side of the guests, and that it will be a good learning for me to be the one asking questions and learning from the ecosystem and building this kind of network around and share the little that I know about the ecosystem. And it's a good opportunity. I'm also very excited because I think bringing in different type of network and the kind of professionals that I also know locally will bring more light to the work that we're also doing here in Cote d'Ivoire and also in the other Francophone countries I've worked with. So yes, thank you so much, and I'm pretty excited about this. I like to talk, so everybody get ready. But I hope I'll be saying things that are meaningful, and that yeah will make it a lively and very energetic podcast, but surely something that is groundbreaking because I think at the end of the day, we want to have an impact, and the little things make an impact. And this is not little, but it would make a bigger impact that we expect. That's my hope for it.
Thank you, and that's a beautiful wish, and I think is the right way to end this episode 0. And I am going to say it today, but this is something that we always close our podcast with. So I will say it today, but the next time it will be you. And if you are going to host episodes without me, that's usually the magical way to end the recording. Guys, that is Breaking Banks episode 0. We wish you an amazing rest of the day, and we give you an appointment for our first episode. Nadine, thank you very much.
Thank you. And everybody, please stay tuned.
And this is the magic word. This is a wrap. Thanks for listening to Breaking Banks Africa, a Provoke Media podcast in cooperation with timepledge.org. Don't forget to share us out or shout out across social media. If there is something or someone you would like to hear on our cast, let us know. See you next month on Breaking Banks Africa.